Are you sick of ignoring red flags in relationships and want to break the cycle of toxic relationships? I'm going to show you how in this video. Hi, my name is Tiffany Toombs. I'm a high-performance mindset coach that has worked with thousands of people across the world to help them master their minds, heal and let go of old, negative, and disempowering habits and behaviors so they can truly step into living the life that they want. In this video, I'm going to share with you the 3 steps that you need to take to break the cycle of toxic relationships for good. Let's get into it. Now, one of the most common reasons that people ignore red flags in relationships is because they unconsciously are looking to validate the belief systems that they have about themselves or to repeat old core wounds. I'm sure you've heard somewhere along the lines of the comfort zone. And the comfort zone, mostly for most people, is not actually that comfortable, but it is familiar to them. They know what to expect when they're in that zone, and relationships are no different. In fact, the belief systems that we have about ourselves, about relationships, about the world around us, about other people, those 95% of those belief systems were planted in our mind between the ages of 0 and 7 years old. And then throughout the rest of our life, we seek out situations that will validate those belief systems, even if those belief systems are not serving us or they're causing us pain and trauma. The reason why we seek to validate these belief systems is that we are wired to stay the same. And so once a seed is planted in our mind, we will fight to keep that belief. And anybody who challenges that belief will get very triggered or very emotional or very upset as a way to stop ourselves from growing and evolving. And so the first step in breaking the cycle of toxic relationships is to really understand and discover what are the belief systems that you have about yourself. What is it that you believe to be true about relationships? Some of the most common limiting beliefs that cause people to ignore red flags in relationships is that they believe that they're not worthy. They believe that they're not good enough. They believe that all men are jerks or all women are jerks. They believe that it's not possible to find a loving and monogamous relationship if that's what they're after. They might believe that passion looks like having intense fights and then amazing make-up sex or something like that, but they ignore these red flags. We also oftentimes will play out any unhealed emotional baggage or core wounds in our relationships as well. So the 5 core wounds that will often play out in relationships are rejection, humiliation, betrayal, abandonment, and injustice. Oftentimes, these are circumstances that we become familiar with when we are growing up as children, and we continue to play that out in our adult relationships, whether that's intimate relationships, business partnerships, relationships with friends and family or colleagues, until we actually do the healing. So the first step to doing that is figuring out what is the limiting beliefs that you have and what are the core wounds that you're repeating. So before I share with you step number 2, I want to hear from you. What is the limiting belief or the core wound that you think is causing you to repeat old toxic patterns in relationships? Go to the comments below and let me know. The second step that we need to take in breaking this cycle of toxic relationships is we actually have to do the inner healing work. We have to let go of the emotional baggage. We have to heal the inner children. We have to repair those core wounds and reprogram any of the limiting beliefs that are keeping us stuck in that old pattern of behavior. Now, I have plenty of videos and guided meditations on my channel, and I'm putting out plenty of new ones every single week to help you navigate this healing process. So all you have to do is go ahead and subscribe to my channel by clicking on that subscription button below, and you will be able to find videos on reprogramming limiting beliefs, on breaking out of burnout, on healing inner children, and so much more. So go ahead, click that subscribe button and like this video while you're there. Now, the last thing that you need to do to really break this cycle of toxic relationships is to make a commitment to yourself. about how you are going to approach future relationships. And you'll even want to go as far as visualizing yourself engaging in these new commitments in relationships. The most important commitments that I would recommend taking is number one, to take things slower. Oftentimes when we've been out of a relationship for a really long time, or we are feeling that loneliness, or we're just wanting that companionship, we end up rushing into relationships or taking things faster than what they need to be taken if we have really great chemistry with somebody, because we want to be in that relationship mode again. The faster we take things, the more likely we are to miss red flags or to just flat out ignore them and repeat those old patterns. So the first commitment you should make to yourself is to take things slower. The second commitment that I recommend making to yourself is to communicate your needs up front. Now, in today's dating world, I hear from a lot of people, I don't want to express my love language, or I don't want to express my needs in a relationship because it might push that person away. But in reality, it's important to realize that the sooner you communicate your needs, the sooner the other person can either show up for you and meet those needs, or can tell you that that's not something that they can do. If you wait 6 months, a year, 2 years down the road to say, hey, my love language is actually quality time, so we need to spend more quality time together. By that time, if the person says, I'm sorry, I can't do that, you've already wasted a lot of time and you're already emotionally invested. And this is where we're more likely to betray ourselves in order to maintain something that we're familiar with, as opposed to doing what is best for ourselves. So things that I would recommend communicating early on in the relationship are, what is your love language? This might seem really obvious to you because it's your love language. It's how you understand that you're loved and appreciated. But if you have somebody who's a very different love language to you, they might be attempting to give you love in the way that they know how, but you don't recognize it because it's not in your language. It would be like speaking Mandarin to somebody and them speaking English back and expecting to be able to have an effective conversation. So the 5 love languages, and all you'd have to do is Google 5 love languages test, and you'll be able to find out what your 5 love languages are. The 5 are quality time, physical touch, words of affirmation, acts of service, and gifts. It would also help to find out what their love languages so that you can show up for them as well. Other things that it's important to communicate at the beginning of a relationship is things like whether or not you want to get married, if you want to have children or not, what your ideal relationship looks like time-wise, intimacy-wise, and every other thing that is important to you. The more that we can share in the beginning and say, hey, this is what matters to me in a relationship, the more that we can make sure that we are matched with the right person before we become emotionally invested and spend a lot of time on that relationship. Now, if you want more tools to help you break through this cycle, overcome the fear and imposter syndrome and other things that are going to pop up as you break these toxic relationship patterns, I would love to have you join the 6-Day Mind Mastery Challenge. This is a totally free challenge, and I'm going to share with you the 6 most powerful exercises that I take my clients through to help them create dramatic transformations. They pay me thousands of dollars. You get it for free today. All you have to do is go to nlpworksheet.com or click on the link in the description below. Talk soon.